What's up guys, this is Yasin. So just in case you guys didn't know or didn't watch the live stream or anything, or like yesterday's video, I have played Razor Mitsurugi at YCS Providence, Rhode Island. That happened last weekend. And it's not like I scrubbed out or anything. I played 6 rounds of the tournament. I started off being 3-0 and then I lost round 4 to Ruben because I didn't play correctly against him. I had Artifact Lancia and I didn't shotgun it, so he always had like a way to kind of play around it by, chaining hair or first action activate Allure of Darkness, which really caught me off guard because then you can't really chain Artifact Lancia to, to Allure of Darkness. So it's not like it really mattered in the grand scheme of things because I actually replayed the match in my head and I would have lost anyways. But still, misplaying doesn't mean that it's justifiable when I would have lost anyways, right? If you can improve, then you should always try to improve. And I've also misplayed on the feature match by using the effect of Surge to surge the X Razor so that I would only have 1 Razor monster left in my deck. Because Duo Drive doesn't actually search up to 2 Razor cards from your deck to your hand. It actually searches 2 Razor cards from your deck to your hand. And I only had 1 target left after that, so yeah, it couldn't actually search. So that's a really big brain fart that really caused the game to be like 5 minutes longer than it was supposed to be, because I was supposed to search like, Node Razor to then send the Twins of the Eclipse to revive back the Razor Detonator and then make like a Daigusto Emerald so that I, never run out of gas and stuff. But yeah, I didn't do that, so yeah, the game was way longer for no good reason, and also I could have interacted better with the trap card so that he can't use it on my turn, so I should have chained it to destroy it on his turn so that his follow-up is less good. So that's also another mistake on my end. And apart from that, I mean, I have misplayed again against the White Forest. I had 4 Syndrome and like a very weak hand, like a bunch of bricks and 7 Tachyon and Forbidden Droplet. And he activated Fiendsmith Engraver to search Sanct, and I changed Roll and Logbird. And in reality, I was supposed to chain Fua to the resolution of Engraver searching the Sanct, so that if he has Ash, then he has to Ash, and then I can change Droll. I didn't do that because it's not like I didn't think of that, it's just that I didn't have enough cards in my hand because 7 Tachyon already makes you lose a card, and then Droplet makes you lose even more cards. Yeah, after that, I started my turn with like 5 cards in hand, I activated 7 Tachyon, he ashed me, and then I had to scoop because... And that was game 3, so I had to actually just give him the win because I didn't have anything else I couldn't play because my hand was just a bunch of weak cards, like bricks and hand traps that don't play the game. So yeah, a little unfortunate, but it is what it is. I think I played the deck like okay outside of that. It's not like, I mean, I usually play very fast as well. I try to do everything in my power to not go into time. And this was my very first time touching a level 4 monster in 2 years, actually. It's been since Mathmag, because I don't know if you guys are even aware, but I've been playing nothing but non-rank 4 decks for the longest time. I played, hold on a second, that's actually kind of crazy when I think about it. Snake Eye Fire King, and then I played Yubel, Crystron. I must have played like another deck that doesn't really summon level 4 monsters. I guess Tier when it was like not really good, but that doesn't really count. So yeah, pretty much in like 2 full years almost, I played nothing but non-rank 4 decks, so now it feels kind of weird to be able to summon, all these rank 4 monsters. It's kind of out of character because usually I don't play these kinds of decks, but still, I do believe that with enough practice, I should be able to master this deck relatively well. Yeah, that's the reason why I'm going to be going into the deck profile and also give you guys my my insight and everything that I feel has to change for the upcoming tournaments for this format. Okay, so first things first, I played 15 hand traps, so obviously 3 Fua, 3 Perulia, 3 Droll. So these are the turn skips that allow you to give yourself the maximum chances of, winning when you're going second. If you are playing hand traps like Imperm and stuff like that, those cards are way too weak on their own, so if you do that, then you have to play like 20 hand traps, which is not something that Razor Mitsurugi can do very well. So it's either something that I would do in Malice or maybe in pure Mitsurugi, but in Razor Mitsurugi it doesn't really make too much sense. And also in this deck, you actually, in case you didn't know that's how it works, if you are playing 1 extra like optional brick, it means that you can play 17 starters and 16 hand traps, well 16 non-engine cards. And that's exactly what I'm doing. So that means 7 bricks. So 70 cards that don't do anything on their own. So Razor Cross, Node Razor, these are the 2 Razor bricks, which is not too much, because if you're playing pure Mitsurugi, you're playing the same amount of bricks, but because you're also playing Futsu, and you're probably playing Great Purification, or, another Mitsurugi card that just doesn't do much of anything. Oh yeah, Mitsurugi Mirror, that's another brick. And then yeah, Nightsword Serpent, Kusanagi, Murakumo, Ritual, and Saji. So yeah, these 7 cards on their own, they do absolutely nothing. And these are the cards that also, like, in combination with each other, they also do pretty much nothing. except if you draw like Ritual and Murakumo, or like Saji Murakumo, that's basically full combo. But if you draw like Murakumo, Serpent, and Kusanagi, Node, and Cross, it does literally nothing. But then when you draw like one of your starters, then all of a sudden you can play. And you have 17 starters, so every card in this row except for Saji and Murakumo, and every card in this row except for Mitsurugi Ritual. By the way, for the hand shops, I also played Ash, Nibiru, and Lancia, so 3 Ash because I can negate the Chummies, so going first it's really good hand shop, and then 1 Lancia because I can search it off of 7 Tachyon, which is searchable off of Dragluxion. This is not new. People have been doing this for quite a while, and you can reveal Ragana Infinity or Archfiend Seraph, the rank 5. The reason why people play Ragana Infinity over Archfiend Seraph is that it's the better card to own, actually. It's not necessarily the better card to play, because you're not really summoning this card, but if Metal Chonus ever becomes a consideration for you, Ragana Infinity can target, can allow you to target DTE Wave Hiking Caesar with Metal Chonus, and then summon that. So just in case people play, you know, the Fiendsmith engine, it gives you more flexibility and coverage with Metal Chonus. So against Razor Fiendsmith, it might be good just in case they only open the Fiendsmith portion of their deck. You can at the very least beat the Caesar in case you don't open cards like X Raziel. And then, you know, you got that Ragana Infinity, so after that you can make an SP Little Knight and then proceed to break the board even more in case they have like Imperm or stuff like that. It shouldn't be like the end of the world. So yeah, that's the reason why people play that instead of Archfiend Seraph. Seraph doesn't really do anything, just a rank 5 light monster that's a fairy. Nobody really cares about like that typing overall. And then 2 Nibiru because I wanted to draw something off of the Chummies. One big problem that we are having right now is that some decks are so overpowered that they actually accept the Chummy challenge. We have seen this on stream, in Dueling book, tournaments, and stuff like that. It's absolutely nothing that should be shocking you too much because it is more popular than you think. And if you're not drawing into relevant cards or like board breakers even, then you're drawing into like more Chummies and more useless cards, and then you're not actually going to be able to stop your opponent. So that's the reason why Nibiru is still a really good card. And if you want to, you can actually just play 1 Nib, because with that logic, it still works. And you can play Galen Granite in order to search Nibiru. And Galen Granite was supposed to be in my extra deck, but I couldn't actually get it in time, so I had to play Harbinger instead. And no, I have not summoned a Harbinger one single time. By the way, sorry for like the lack of structure in this deck profile. I'm really just rambling on like random things, but I am still very tired. I came back like home yesterday night and yeah, didn't really have too much time to rest. Pretty much it for the main deck. I mean, everything else should make sense. Like, I'm not really gonna bother explaining why I'm playing 3 Habakiri, 3 Prayers, 3 Tachyon. I'm really trying to max out on consistency. If I can play like 17 starters, that's perfect. But what I will say is that Aramasa is not actually a must. You can play without Aramasa, but the reason why it's kind of good is because if you go draw phase Prayers, pitch Habakiri, and you got like 3 other cards, and then the Prayers either gets Belled, Ashed, or Impulsed, what's gonna happen is that you're gonna go Habakiri effect, and then you can only search 1 Mitsurugi card, and from there, regardless of the other cards in your hand, if it's not Aramasa, then you can't do anything. But if it is Aramasa, then you search it, and then you normal summon, you search another Habakiri, and then Habakiri effect, summon Saji, and then Saji effect, search Ritual, and then activate the Ritual, send Kusanagi and Serpent, which is another reason why Serpent is pretty good. It's very good with Prayers and Habakiri to not only beat the Droll, but also beat other hand traps like Impulse and stuff like that. You can Chain Block, Kusanagi, Chainlink 1, recycle back the Ritual, Chainlink 2, Serpent, and then you're gonna have 2 level 4 monsters on the field. That's gonna be Night Sword Serpent as well as Aramasa, and you're gonna be going Ritual, summon Murakumo over the Habakiri, can't trigger, but then you can make a dual drive effect. Even if your opponent goes Imperm there, then you can chain the Murakumo and then your opponent loses a card, so that you can still end on like some disruptions. And in this situation, what you're supposed to do is link off your 2 monsters for Dynamundo. For that one, it's just like I didn't really have the extra deck space, but realistically, I should have played Dynamundo instead of like maybe the Harbinger or like the Galen Granite. I'm not really sure. For the extra deck, also, most of everything makes a lot of sense. The only things that are probably going to shock people are obviously the Harbinger instead of Galen Granite and Dynamundo. I don't know, yeah, IP into SP, that's kind of logical, but the SP never came up a single time, and the IP obviously even less, because sometimes you can argue like you can make an SP without going to IP first because you're trying to break a board, but then you can't OTK your opponent because you can't attack directly. And by the way, I will say one thing about Harbinger. It has a very unique set of effects, and I do plan on making a really cool video on that one very soon, so stay tuned, because I think it's one of the most unique cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! If you actually know exactly how to tap into this card's power. But yeah, I really like my deck list overall. I wouldn't really change too much in the main deck, honestly. I do think that it was pretty clean for the most part. But like I said, I didn't play perfect. I have made a couple of mistakes, and I plan on learning from them, because obviously I'm not... I never touched a Raziel card prior to the YCS, so I honestly had no idea that Raziel Cross had to put back on the bottom for me, it was just like, okay, shuffle back. It was kind of like Dagusto Emerald, but I knew that 7 Tachyon actually put back on the top of the deck. So that one I knew for a fact, but Razor Cross really caught me off guard and made me really feel like I was a complete noob with the deck, honestly. And just a complete noob at Yu-Gi-Oh! Because not being perfect and not knowing exactly what every single card in your deck does is just unacceptable. And I actually knew exactly every effect that every single card had, except for this one, so yeah, it's kind of pathetic. Actually, that's a lie. I don't know what Ragna Infinity does on the field. Kind of. I know it's like an evolution of Ragna Zero, but I don't really care because obviously I'm never going to be using its effect. Unless I can randomly make it using 3 Artifact Lancia. Hey, there we go. Anyway, speaking of which, I am citing 2 extra copies of Lancia, 3 Chaos Hunter, 3 Meows, and 3 Imperial Ironwall. My meta call was that Malice was going to be the most represented deck, which was not true, and I did play against one Malice, and I lost to it because I didn't play correctly. So this strategy would have worked even without the Imperial Iron Wall, but I was citing the Iron Walls even going second against Malice because my game plan was to handshove them to absolute oblivion, and then I can draw Imperial Iron Wall, I flip it, and then I set it, and then I flip it on their standby phase, and then I can actually interact with half boards. But if they have a handshaves to deal with me, then I'm losing anyways. So I think in hindsight, I would actually not play Iron Wall, or at least cut it to like 1 or 2 copies. 3 might have been like overkill because then I don't have enough cards for the other matchups. And another thing that I would do is that I would side 1 copy of Star Raziel, because that one, it's, if I can actually bring it on the, there you go, yeah, it doesn't work, whatever. Star Raziel, it's a card that makes you just beat Jewel and Logboard easy, because now your eyes can summon a monster that doesn't surge, but rather sets a card on the field, so even under Droll, you can still, you know, be pretty good into, I mean, you can still get like 1 extra disruption, which obviously helps a lot, or at least diversify your interruptions. And also beat Nibiru in the process. Like, you can beat Nibiru and Drool if you play Star Raziel, which is really cool. For the side deck, I'm also playing 2 Droplet, 1 Talent, and 1 Purification. Droplet was amazing. I mean, it's always a great card. If anything, maybe bump this card up to 3, maybe, potentially, I don't know. The Talent, I mean, I don't really think I've ever drew it once, so it doesn't really matter too much. And Great Purification never mattered. Like, I was able to search it, but it was completely irrelevant for the most part. But yeah, that's it for this, Raziel Mitsurugi deck profile, I guess you can say, and also tournament experience. Like I said, I had a lot of fun. Huge, massive shoutouts to everyone that I faced, everyone that I met there. You guys are all awesome. Every single time I go to an event, the highlight and the actual real experience comes from the interaction that I have with people. And that's the main reason why I even travel there. It's because I really want to be able to see you guys and also get myself out there. Because obviously there's a big difference between watching me behind the screen and also be there with me like in person. Like, it's obviously 2 different things. So yeah, again, huge thank you to everyone who supported me and who reached out to me. Yeah, I will definitely use this tournament as a learning experience so that I always improve and always try to become better for the next event. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys very, very soon. Peace.